Viktor Frankl said, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms. To choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's way." This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson. Stay tuned for the next hour as Sue explores the human psyche, what makes us tick, and how to live better, more fulfilled and more meaningful lives. Only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson on 101.9 High FM on the Finding Human program, and my guest today is Dror Limor. And welcome, Dror. It's so good to have you here today.
Yeah, morning. Thank you.
We have my son Norman to thank for introducing us to each other. Our topic is finding strength in the challenge, and this is what we're going to be looking at. Dror has had an unbelievable experience, a life-altering experience in the last year, and that's what he's going to share with us today. Very kindly, with huge courage. And you know, Viktor Frankl says the human potential at its best is to transform a tragedy into a personal triumph, to turn one's predicament into a human achievement. And I think that's exactly what you have done, Dror. Well done. Let me just tell you a bit about Dror. He is, mind you, would you like to tell us about yourself?
No, if you are willing, then more than happy.
Dror is a telecom executive and a business development, and very busy in the African market, around Africa. He believes in a hands-on approach in all his dealings, and he's a great motivator and managing local and global teams. And he has a solid grasp of data analysis and performance metrics. And he's acquainted with diverse cultures and with business deals. He makes the deals and he goes and closes the deals as well. Dror, tell me add a bit to that, please.
Okay. After this preview, I did my part this morning. I can go back. First of all, good morning. It's Rosh Chodesh today. It's Tuesday, פעמיים כי טוב, and just before we start, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו והקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Amen.
So yeah, it's thanks for having me. It's not trivial to be here, especially after the long journey I've been through, which we'll talk about it in the next hour. Yeah, as you said,
we're going to get back to that now. We're already going to an advert.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
This is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with Dror Limor. And High FM provides an essential service to South African Jewry. It also connects the Jewish diaspora community. There is an urgent and immediate need to ensure the broadcast security of High FM, and we need your help. We would be very grateful for your assistance. Support the High FM Radiothon tomorrow, Wednesday, the 22nd of February. Call, pledge, challenge. 0101 40 40 90. The High FM Radiothon 2023, 101.9 megahertz of life. This is Sue Jackson, and I'm back on the Finding Human program with Dror Limor, and Dror was about to tell us a bit more about himself. Dror, can I go back to you?
Yeah, thank you. So as you said in your preview, I came to Africa in 2004. It's like 19 years ago, working in several countries in the likes of Liberia, Nigeria, Uganda, Mozambique, Tanzania, and now South Africa. In the telecom business, doing helping and educating the local people into connectivity, connecting the unconnected. On a personal level, also, as you've mentioned, trying to be a mentor to communities, trying to help society and the organization within those countries into being more progressed in the world. It has been complete challenge, bringing lots of values, responsibility, and managing your life in an interesting way. My family, my wife and 3 kids, was there with me along the journey. And a year and a half ago, we came to South Africa after 7 years living in Tanzania.
And before then, Dror, were you born in Israel?
Yeah, I was born in Israel. I'm 49 years old. I served in the IDF, in the military, in an elite squad, training and having my brothers in arms, with all the challenges that it gives in life, and teaching you how to be a man. My son is here with me in South Africa, and he learns in King David. And in 2.5 years from now, Im Yirtzeh Hashem, he will go to the army as well. And it's a nice turn of events, and looking forward to it very much on my side. Yeah.
And so you came to Africa, and you were living a very successful life. You did very well. And tell me what was important in your life at the time. You spoke about material, your material existence. Just tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so the last decade was a good one for myself and my family. We lived in different countries. I was successful in my business in terms of the business development and opening of new countries. I'm a sportsman. I'm a strong guy in some senses as a way of life. There's no special regime for me, but something I take as a way of life. And also from the material point, I made good living. We lived in a good way, in a good neighborhood, supporting my kids with the finest education, with international American school, and living in a good house, a nice house, and driving a nice car, and having all the facilities and all the things that we had. Thank God we didn't miss anything, and it was my privilege to be able to give it to my family.
And
but it
was important to you, that?
Yeah, it was very much important, but it took a lot of efforts and resources out of my life, as you needed to chase the business and the network and work hours and hours all over the place, traveling a lot, missing a lot of my kids' life and my family life. And now reflecting on this time, I don't know if the balance was a correct one, if to say the least. And last year we got some horrific news, and that was something that shook me up and made me realize that maybe I didn't live the life that I needed to live at the time.
Did you get any indication before this that your life was about to change?
Yeah, I do believe I got them. They were not physical, but more on the spiritual side. I got some red flags or yellow cards from heaven, but unfortunately I didn't listen. I was not aware, and I took things very much for granted in terms of my family, in terms of my spouse and kids and friends and co-worker. I must admit that the ego was running before me, few steps ahead. I thought I'm the king of the world, and I can do whatever I want. And success came in a very good and fast way. And I thought that this is the life, until I got a lesson that this is not necessarily the life that I thought it was.
So tell me a bit about the lesson. You were showing me you've got tattoos on your body.
Yeah, a few.
A few tattoos, and the one says "Never give up," and the other one says "You're blessed." And for the last 10 years, you said you've had them. And then you told me a story which I found very interesting. You said there's a Hebrew story about falling to the bottom of a pit, but there's a golden ladder. So and the golden ladder is what you choose where you're choosing to actually start to climb. Now, when you fell into the bottom of the pit, what did it feel like at the bottom of that pit?
It's a bit of a jump from how it happened, but
okay, go back to how it happened.
Last year, at the beginning of the year, I was feeling not so well, and to cut a long story short, I went to see the doctor. The doctors they ran some tests all over the place, and I was diagnosed with a cancerous tumor in my upper chest, a cancer tumor. It was a complete shock to me and to my family. It's an almost 9 centimeter of a cancer tumor that was sitting above my upper chest.
We're going to get back to that.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
This is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with Dror Limor, and he's telling us about when he got this tumor in his chest, which was a real unbelievable shock to him. If you would like to SMS us, please do so on 34519 or telegram us on 061 895 1019. Dror, so it was right in your very center of your being that you got this tumor.
Yeah, I was sitting at the doctor's office looking at the images in his computer and cannot believe the place I'm in. At some point he was talking and I couldn't even listen. My mind was somewhere else, analyzing the situation and thinking 99 steps ahead. Thinking about the operation, thinking about the cutting up and taking the thing out, and how will my life look after that. And yes, you are right. I'm a person who cares a lot about his appearance and his look and his. I used to care a lot about what people think about me, and how do I present myself to the world based on my occupation. I was working a lot with people. I was meeting lots and lots of people. I was pitching. I was presenting. I was giving lectures and always in the crowd and always in the center. And boom, this thing came as a complete shock.
Were you on your own when you heard?
No, my wife was there with me,
Mm-hmm.
as she was throughout the process. And all of a sudden, you get the news that you have a big tumor in your center, literally, physically and spiritually. It was a complete shock. But immediately, I'm a true believer that you have to accept your past, but you should not live in your past. So I'm a very practical guy, and very fast I was trying to think about the next few steps. Immediately I flew to Israel to get a second opinion. All the doctors in Israel said the same as the doctors in South Africa. I was treated by the best of the doctors around here, without mentioning any names, but Mill Park Hospital, with all his staff and my neurologist and my GP, all of them are angels from heaven, sent to save me. A month after I was hospitalized at Mill Park, doing the operation, whereby the first operation was a success. They opened me up and removed the big tumor. Unfortunately, they sent it to biopsy and they found that it is in a higher stage than they thought, and they said that they need to go again and to try to sacrifice a nerve in order to capture the rest of the tumor. And whilst they went again, I lost my pulse, I lost my blood pressure, and I went into coma for 2 weeks. When they took me out of theater, they told my wife that the next 18 hours is going to be the critical one, and please be prepared for the worst news. And the 18 hours came into 15 days. So 15 times 24, you do the mathematics yourself. While I was in a coma, in that time, my parents, who is living in Israel, came all the way to South Africa, and came to be by my bed, which is also, it's come to think about it, flying 10,000 kilometers, 15 hours door to door. My parents are not living together for quite some time. Sitting in an airplane, landing in Joburg, and coming to the hospital to see their son. Together, to see their big son, their firstborn, in a way that they couldn't recognize him.
And you were unconscious at that stage. You were in a coma.
Yeah, I was ventilated, sedated, and in a coma. Yeah, it was a very bad situation where I was.
And what happened when you were in a coma? Was there, you had visits, your parents came to visit you, your wife was there. Was there anything else that actually shook your life and made you think, even when you were unconscious?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the faith or the being blessed, or maybe the drugs, or the I don't know what, but during those 2 weeks, I remember flying from earth to heaven, seeing some angels, literally, seeing people that were a part of my life and are no longer with us, from the army, from people that has died throughout the course of life. Co-workers, colleagues, my bosses, family members, all came as in shape of angels. And I also remember, I don't really know how to put it in the right context, but I remember that Hashem spoke to me in some way, and he made me realize that it's not my time yet. But still, if he was to put me back to where I was, and if he was to bring me back to life, I must take upon myself things that needs to be changed in my course of living.
Had you ever heard God's voice before speak to you?
No, not really. I'm not a religious guy. I do tefillin and wake up and pray every morning in the last 10 years or so.
Tefillin are the phylacteries that men put on.
Yeah. But still, that's the difference between today and life before and life after. Because you wake up in the morning, you just tick a box. Okay, I need to do the prayer, I need to do the tefillin, I need to say Modeh Ani, and so on. And sometimes you miss it, sometimes you don't. But after what happened to me, the emunah, the faith was much bigger in me. And when you pray, or when you go to the shul, you feel it. There were mornings that I cried myself and prayed with much more intention than I used to. So to a question, no, I didn't hear it before. But
you said you got a few slaps. You told me when we spoke before that God, Hashem, had to slap you hard across your face.
Yeah.
for you to listen. Is that right?
Yeah, it's we talked about it before. If there was some early signs, but there was, but I didn't pay much attention, and only now when I was almost not amongst the living, and he put me down on 4, and made me listen, because I would not listen any other way. And during the course of these few days, I heard him giving me some advices on how to try and change my life, how to do things better. By the way, when I woke up, I asked for. I could not speak. I was connected to ventilator. I asked for a piece of paper and a pen, and I started writing the things that I remember him telling me. Like, you wake up from a dream, and next to your bed, you write it down. And still, from time to time, even nowadays, I can remember things that I was told there. Then I need to take upon myself in order to try and be a better man, be a better father, be a better husband, be a better colleague, be a better son to my parents, be a better man to myself. And part of this show or this broadcast is nothing to do with me. It's about giving a message out to people on the never give up, and how to not dwell too much on your past, but let it be a part of you. But remember that you have to live day by day as of today, and not all the time remembering the past. Let the past be a part of you, but not part of your day to day. And if, to be honest, we don't have to go through cancer or heart disease or, God forbid, death in order to appreciate all the things that we have in life. And it's not necessarily a big house and a nice Porsche, which I'm not driving a Porsche, by the way.
and a good watch
and all those stuff. A rooftop and a nice meal with your kids is more than enough, and some light even when there's load shedding. It's also nice, and for lots of times you don't need much more than that.
And I think what you're talking about is what you found was in your most vulnerable time of your life. You found your human strength, that inner strength that we all have, but we very seldom tap into. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, you talked about a golden ladder. There's a song in Hebrew. People used to say that you find the light in the end of the tunnel. I see it. I heard it a few times, and I see it as a golden ladder that shines when you're in the bottom of the pit or the well, and you start climbing, and the climbing is step by step on this golden ladder that shines the way up until you reach the top. And thank God nowadays I'm almost at the top. The climbing was not easy. I've been admitted for almost 2 months, been operated 3 or 4 times, been under lots of painkillers and sleeping pills and steroids and lots of medications. I lost 18 kg. It's not a TV show, but I'm a big guy. Sports is a major part of my life. And I lost the ability to even walk. When I started my rehabilitation, I was only lifting my legs as opposed to taking a weight of 50 or 60 kg. I lost a lot of my centers in life. I lost my appetite, my health, my family, I got fired from the place that I used to consult to. So I lost my livelihood. I need to take care of sponsoring my family from my savings and from the medical insurance and so on. So the climbing was not an easy ride, but as they say, it's not about how hard you can get it. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. And that's another motto of myself, that you have to keep moving forward on a daily basis, even if you don't run a marathon or lift a weight of 50 kg. Just start walking. Just lift 1 kg, or don't lift at all, but just wake up and do something. Go and enjoy the sunlight. Go and walk. Go and eat healthy. Go and be blessed by your family and your kids, and that's the first step on the ladder.
It's funny you should say that, because today I got a message from a friend of mine in Australia who's listening in probably now as well, and it was by Maya Angelou, and it said, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but rarely admit the struggle it has gone through to achieve beauty." And what you're saying is that you actually, to stop and smell the flowers, to look beyond who we are and to see the beauty around us. And so often there are messages in that beauty about going on with life.
You know, we live in a house with a nice garden, and usually people just pay the gardener to come and fix their garden, but they barely enjoy it. And what I found in my rehabilitation, that to go barefoot on the grass and to feel the grass itself, and to smell the flower and to water the garden, is like a therapy for me.
So it's a blessing almost that you're feeling.
It's the simple things in life that you learn to enjoy. We say Yeshuat Hashem ke'eref ayin. So if I translate it to English, it's God's salvation in the blink of an eye. And I do believe that once you set your mind into it and you decide that this is what you need to do, then Hashem is with you, and there's no more process. Just to give an example, before that I used to drink a lot of coffee. I used to do I can't even count the amount of caffeine that I put into my body. And then when I found about the tumor, the doctor told me that one of the causes can be maybe overloading of caffeine. So I decided immediately that I'm stopping. I went to my coffee machine. I threw all of the capsule to the trash bin, and that's it. No more coffee for me until further notice. So and again, Yeshuat Hashem ke'eref ayin, because it's not, okay, let's go down now to 5 lattes per day and 5 cappuccinos and 5 espressos. No, you want to heal, you want to do a process, you want to climb the ladder, so no coffee at all. And in 2 weeks or in 2 months, you will go back. 1 coffee a day, 2 coffee a day, it's fine. The same as the physiotherapy or the radiation or all the things that I had to go through. For 3 months, I did radiation, I did physiotherapy. I was talking to I had a psychologist attached to myself. Super good nutrition with all the good stuff, but not the tasty stuff that you are used to. And I knew that it's a part of the process. And 3 months after, when I came to see my doctor, he could not believe to what he saw, because he said, I'm shaking a hand of who was supposed to be a dead man. What's going on there? Is it you? And
it was you.
Yeah.
And Dror is actually, he's sitting opposite me, a very good-looking man and a big man. So, you know, what he says is true. We'll get back to that shortly.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with my guest, Dror Limor, and we're talking about his experiences with cancer and with hearing and sensing voices that spoke to him, and he changed his life completely. I actually need to thank Craig and Vusi and Makundi first for keeping us on air. And if you'd like to SMS us, please do so on 34519 or Telegram on 061 895 1019. You know, Dror, you told me that at one stage you were literally 90% dead, and your wife was told to take you to Israel for your funeral. Is that right?
Yeah. They told us that the next 18 hours will be the critical one, and we have to take everything into consideration, even the worst case scenario, and they didn't give me much of a chance, yeah. And you know, lucky I didn't hear it with my own ears, because maybe I would have waken up earlier. But in some miracle way, my mental strength, as my physical one, I was very much. I was very lucky that my body sacrificed 101% of what he had, and this is what saved me at the end of the day. Plus, I do believe that my mental strength, health, and skill is the one thing that puts me to speak to you today and with your listeners, because otherwise I wouldn't have made it. I remember when I was in a coma at a time I used to wake up and trying to take out the tube that I had stuck in my mouth, knowing for a fact that once I take it out, I'm no longer with us. I'm gonna die, and thank God that the nurses stopped me, and at the end of the day they tied me to the bed in order for me not to hurt myself. And when I went back to sleep, I took the strength to realize where I'm at and what I'm fighting for, which is my kids, my family, and I knew that it's too early for me to pass on from this world. I have a responsibility. I have things to do here in this world, and I need to go back in some way. And this is also something that led me during the rehabilitation. I wanted to do it as fast as possible, but as good as it should be, and to build it brick by brick in a good way, and not just to tick a V and move forward. And,
you know that Rumi says the treasures that can be found outside of you can't even compare to the treasures found inside of you. And that's exactly what you're saying. And you know, that spiritual touch that you talk about, I have witnessed it in many people, in my own family, when they've been fighting for their lives, my family of origin, and in friends and in many of my patients. And it's the fact that someone who's not physically present with you can still help and heal you. And when you mentioned that, first of all, it was Hashem, it was God, and the angels that you saw that were actually representing your friends, your people that you knew, other people, to help you actually reach towards your inner self and your own strength. Is that what you think that spiritual touch was for you?
yeah, it was a big part of it. At the time of the coma, I couldn't really realize it, but only when I woke up and started getting conscious again, I learned that the nuclear family and the extensive family and so many good people along the way, so many friends, and I'm talking about 20, 25 years of friendships, even from the army time, that it was 30 years ago, but people that I used to work with 20, 25 years ago opened WhatsApp group back in Israel and prayed and read Tehillim each morning, and my cousins and my uncles and most of them all of them are living in Israel, and most of them are religious, and they went to all the Kivrei Tzadikim and the shuls and the synagogues and whatnot, and prayed and sent regards and gave us so much support throughout this journey. Also, the staff from the hospital, my GP is a Jewish, and the surgeon was a Jewish guy.
Did that mean a lot to you that they were?
Yeah. It's
It's part of your existence.
I remember one day when after the coma that my GP, I don't know if it's allowed to mention names, but he came to see me, and it was just after last days of COVID, and I all was wearing a mask, and I looked at him, and I couldn't even recognize him, yet alone to get up from my bed. I'm bruised, I'm full of scars, and then he took off the mask, and I saw him. His name is Michael. My father's name is Michael, and it was like an angel came from the sky, and I don't know how, but I got out of bed and I hugged him for. It felt like 50 minutes, and yes, it was a huge support for me and for my family. Even after going out of the hospital, I started going to Linksfield Shul and being in touch with the Jewish community there, which we were not prior to that. We live in Midrand, which is quite far from Linksfield, and the hug and the support that we got from the Jewish community in the likes of the synagogue and the people and the school and all the good people that amongst them I met your dear son. It's something that I cannot even describe in words, and very much surprising, because אנשים טובים באמצע הדרך. You find good people along the way that help you climb this ladder, people that come for your life for a reason. I'm sure that I've met most of them for a reason, and you know, sometimes I look at it as the doctors told me that I should get a death certificate, but instead I got a birth certificate.
Wow.
And I see it in, you know, sometimes they say that don't look at it as if you are buried, even if you are dark, and you feel like you are buried, you're actually being planted. And it's hard to reach to that conclusion. I'm still not 100% moving towards that direction, and there are hard days even today, but I'm trying to look at it as if I'm planted, and I need to nurture myself on a daily basis in order to keep doing what I'm intent to.
So there are many people who have come to walk beside you, and that's the most beautiful thought, because I think that's also the part of the spiritual journey of finding ourselves, and people come into our lives and help us along the way. Thank you, Craig.
This is Finding Human with Sue Jackson, only on 101.9 High FM.
Hello, this is Sue Jackson, and I'm back with my guest, Dror Limor. And our time is going very quickly, but I just want to say that I've been very privileged to be witness to people being touched by this unseen healing hands and the unheard, well, the messages that we hear, and by the sense of being surrounded by love. And sometimes we are touched by sounds, by words, by the nature, by the sunset, and our senses are reawakened. So it sounds as though your senses were reawakened during this time that you were in a coma. What is very important for you now as you go on with your journey of finding yourself and healing?
Wow, that's a big question. I'm looking for the answers on a daily basis. But if to sum it up, I'm trying to adopt the way that I accept with complete faith that everything that Hashem has brought to me, from the hardest and the most challenging obstacle up to the place where I'm today, where I'm almost 100% healed. I thank God for everything that He's put me through, because I know in my heart, and I'm sure that everything happened for my good, and happened for a reason. And I think that all of this that happened led me to the place where I'm in today, and to a better place in my journey.
And tell me about your family and your children, because you weren't allowed to see your children for quite a long time when you were in hospital.
Yeah, that's the longest time I've ever experienced not seeing my kids or not even speaking to them. As I said, I have 3 kids, and even in my business trips along the way, for a week or 2 weeks, we chatted every day, and voice notes and videos and whatnot. But in this stage, I couldn't even speak to them. First of all, because I was in a coma, and second of all, I literally could not speak. I was connected to all those machines, and only after 44 days, before I went to the ward from ICU, they came to see me, and I was waiting for them at the reception in order for them not to see me barely walking with a wheelchair, and the experience was something that I cannot even describe. But they were my force. They say that in cancer, it's not only you who experience it, it's the entire family. And only later I got to understand, when I came back home and spoke to them, that they had a very, very difficult time. They didn't really know what's going on, but they felt, kids do feel everything. And the little one cried at night, and my firstborn had a rough time at school, and the middle one had some sleepless night and panic attacks and so on. And I learned to hug them in a different way. And
What sort of way?
To be much more present in their life, and really listen to what's going on, and not to be concentrated on another phone call, another Zoom meeting, another trip, another deal to score. There are more important things in life than that, and it's those small things that you learn to appreciate. Only when things like that happened. And the conventional medicine is okay, and the pills and the painkillers and whatnot, but there are so many other medicines in life which are natural one, and kids are one of them, and the sunlight is one of them, and a good food is one of them, and a good sleep is one of them, and exercising, walking, running, doing whatever you want to, that's also a medicine. And to believe in God is also a medicine. And to learn and to read things that God says, and it's also a part of the healing. So combining all of these things together helped me heal in a much better way.
So your whole family have been on this journey with you, and when somebody has cancer, it's never that you have it alone. It's the whole family that are cancering. And it sounds as though you and your family are working through and have worked through this together and are finding peace within that. I'm being told that I've got to wrap up. How would you like to end, Dror?
First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity, and I would like to say to the listeners, just 2 things. First of all, never give up. Keep moving forward. And as we say, we cannot drive the darkness, but we can turn on the light. So find your light, make it work, and God bless.
God bless. Thank you so much, Dror, and I wish you health, and you definitely will have reached a lot of listeners today, and we will do this again and give more messages. Thank you, Craig, and thank you, Dror.